What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today to discuss the 5 most powerful characters in the game right now that you should be building and investing in fully if you get your hands on them. Obviously, some of these characters may or may not be out of reach, but it's good to be mindful of where they rank right now in the game, as they are the all-stars of the all-stars. So having said that, let's get right to it. At the time of recording right now, even with the newly released Out of Time team and a direct counter in Black Knight himself, Super Skrull is still hands down the best character in the game. Yes, he's fallen out of the arena meta now officially because of that direct counter, but it still remains well questioned that he can just bring in a lot of value as one of the best plug and play characters in the game. You still need to go through the heavy end game stages of Dark Dimension 6 to unlock him. It takes a multitude of resources and built up rosters to even get a chance to obviously unlock him. But yeah, hands down, he still brings so much to the team in all the different game modes, even if that's fallen off in arena meta for a couple things, right? I think one of the big things for his exposure mechanic is the fact that depending on the number of heroes or villains that are on your team, that's going to apply some different effects here, such as an ability block, turn meter rewind. But what makes him very devastating is the fact that once he gets his chance to use his ultimate, absolutely cripples the entire team. Trauma for 2 full turns, defense up. And what I really like about his kit and what makes him one of the best characters plug and play value at all is the fact that what he brings to each and every single team, right? He lowers the armor for all enemies by 25%. He gains additional HP. He boosts the fellow allies on his team. He makes, going through the incursion rates right now, the rebirth team actually viable, even if you don't have the full hive mind. And the fact that each time an exposed enemy gets attacked, he's also going to be reducing everyone's HP for 5% of his health. So, I mean, just absolutely huge, guys. This is still hands down the best character in the game. Once Mephisto comes into the play here, it's going to be very interesting to analyze the two. But without question, Super Skrull still takes the rankings at the very top. Next up, what made it really interesting, obviously, is the introduction of Black Knight and being that counter. But Apocalypse's value has actually gone up with him being utilized now in Arena, thanks to Super Skrull actually falling down the ladder there. So it's huge. Apocalypse still retaining how great he is of a character, that plug and play value, even when synergized with all his fellow legendary horsemen. But he's still great to be slotted into different teams and synergies, right? And the reason being is because of his infamous Falcon Punch, activating his ultimate ability to trigger his empowered state where he can almost one-shot anybody that's on the opposing side. But as well, being able to flip, apply trauma, bleed, and slow, it's just absolutely huge, guys. It's an unavoidable and unblockable attack that's absolutely devastating to any enemy. Having Miss Marvel Hardlight as a direct kind of sponge to this attack is definitely a pseudo counter, but it doesn't stop Apocalypse. It essentially just covers for a turn. What I really like about Apocalypse is what he also brings to the team, especially if you're planning to bring him up into Dark Dimension. His special, surprisingly enough, as a support character, can provide a lot of healing. Not only is it an ability blocking, crowd controlling aspect, but he's applying vulnerability. He's applying offense down, defense down, and then redistributing the damage done to the total HP. So it even bypasses heal block, which is pretty significant, guys. So a strong character still in the meta. I'm glad that everyone working hard, going through the Horsemen and Scourge teams, obviously still making this valuable character still worth it. So in my honest opinion, still cemented at number 2 in the game right now, and it looks like to be the case at least until the foreseeable future. Now, finally, with the meta being broken up a bit and switching things up here with Black Knight, I think he is firmly now probably the 3rd best plug and play option, especially with his direct counter with Super Skrull. And again, it's because of his Merlin's Champion passive ability, right? If you guys get your chance to unlock him, his event is coming in a week, so we definitely want to be preparing. But I mean, it's huge. They already have specific callouts to Mephisto in War, but that's really where they're going to be standing out. In Arena specifically, on any kind of defense aspect, he's gaining that huge notable addition of 40% HP boost, additional armor. In War, he's going to be even stronger as well with the additional resistance. So I mean, I think in terms of staying value, this character is going to be here for quite some time, because any kind of on taunt defense up character that can actually sponge and do damage back, it's going to be huge, especially given the fact how useful he is right now, even at 3 stars and 3 red. But more notably, what he can bring to the team as well. having a strong special ability that can actually cleanse from his allies. And keep in mind too, it benefits all allies. It's not a specific team. He has synergies with Rebirth as well as Out of Time. And again, like I said, he's a strong plug and play, gaining taunt, safeguard, charges, and speed up. I mean, he's just doing a little bit of everything. He's also got a very powerful ultimate ability here, as you can see, right? And what's really different about this character as a tank and a taunt compared to other characters is that he's dealing damage based on his HP as damage. So obviously, as we have more star rankings of him and being boosted up, that's going to play a big factor. But unlike Super Skrull and Apocalypse, Black Knight is going to be required as part of that Out of Time team for the next future legendary. For that reason, I do think he takes firmly now the number 3 slot in the game. At number 4, we have Kang the Conqueror, the big super bad right now that's happening with the Marvel movies right now, setting up the stage. But I mean, ever since his introduction last year early, he's been one of the best plug-and-play damage dealers in the game, especially given what he can do in shredding defenses with piercing damage, turn meter rewind, and his additional strikes. I brought him into Dark Dimension. He's used in all game modes, and even made the initial incursion raids before Pegasus was released to be one of the best kind of offensive options to be utilized, especially part of a tech trait in the game. So, I mean, obviously it goes without saying, he does a lot of good things, and he's really a character that you always want to be on the offense, but really shines truly with his Crucible meta and as well as his fellow Masters of Evil team. He's also utilized for an unlock in Nova if you guys are trying to unlock him through the Legendary Trials. But again, what he brings to the table, his crit damage, his notable piercing ability to be able to shred the defenses, and as well, one of the few characters in the game that can also cleanse barrier, which is basically another way to shred through that the defense like a butter knife, right? So for that reason, I think Kang's going to have amazing staying value going forward in the future, especially as being one of the best offensive plug-and-play characters. Even without that kind of one-shot mechanic like Apocalypse, he just does so much damage based purely on his critical and piercing ability. So for sure, I do see his value staying at the top of this list for sure. Last but not least, I think Kestrel is finally in this top list because of the fact that she's actually classified as a mythic character. We've seen from time to time that the developers and Scopely themselves are not shy from making sure that these strike unique origin characters are going to keep staying relevant and continue to be relevant going forward into the future, as we saw. So obviously with her being cemented with Pegasus and the incursion rates is huge, but also the Pegasus team is a really great all-rounding team. Her classification of mythic being likely required in the the Mephisto unlock, her plug and play value, her versatility. But what I really like is the fact that ever since her inception in the game, she still has that unique mechanic here, which obviously prevents characters from either summoning or cloning. So a direct counter to obviously Undying when you have her, as well as Dark Phoenix and Phoenix herself. So I mean, it's big in the future, right? We don't see this typically applied too much now because it's kind of just fallen out of the meta. But this mechanic may later on play a big factor when new teams and introductions of different characters that utilize those cloning or summoning mechanics. And again, just a strong plug and play character. Well, ever since her inception, the mixture of skill and tech, absolutely love it, guys. So yeah, there you have it. I think each and every one of these characters are the best right now in the game that you should be investing if you get your hands on, as they can be utilized and across a multitude of different game modes, adding immense value over time, but as well being the best of the best. Let me know what you guys think in comments below, but I do appreciate always doing these kind of quick updates in regards to who are the strongest and most powerful right now in the game. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.